South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Here we go, everybody. Time for another Sports by the Book here on a Wednesday. Happy to be with you. I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White. First half hour, we will get into today's action. We've got 2 NBA games, 2 NHL games, a lot of college basketball, and then make sure and stick around for the second half of the show. We're going to do our big game breakdown. We've got Army-Navy coming up, and then personal opinion, 3 best NFL games on the board. Thursday, we've got the Rams and the Niners, kind of an elimination game for these two. And then we've got the Bills and the Lions, and the Steelers and the Eagles. So we're going to get to all of those games very shortly, about 30 minutes from now. First, we have to check in. We have been doing this whiteboard, putting up our plays for the last 3 weeks now. We do need to go back and figure out your overall record. Check in. Good morning. How did you do last night, and how was your board?
Yeah, it was good morning. I'm looking for my NHL sheet, and there's only 2 games. I can get it off my computer, but I don't know what's on my mind. Big trucks, 4-wheel drive trucks. If you want to find, everyone in the world is here. Every 4-wheel drive truck is here in the parking lot. And
if you're in the market trying to buy a truck too, there's a couple that have the for sale sign.
Oh, really? On
their windows that I've seen out there too. Some nice ones. Very nice.
Yeah, no, it's very, very busy. As we mentioned, it is rodeo week, National Finals Rodeo. So, best of NA. The music's good. The country music, that it's great. The South Point, they play the music to Who's in the House, and very smart move.
Yes, and a little bit of country Christmas as well to go with just the country theme. So, checking
Sports
in
betting?
though, fun night last night. I think that was the first time I've watched 2 full NBA games, but they were both meaningful. A lot of fun. Had the playoff feel for both of them. Orlando, wow, really put up a fight against the Bucks. And then the Thunder, you could see that revenge factor kind of step in from playoffs last year against Dallas.
Yeah, and a loss earlier this year already to Dallas. So, yeah, a lot of motivation for Oklahoma City. The first game, the team shot lights out. Orlando got a big lead in the first quarter. That was the time to jump on Milwaukee because, I liked them -7. When they fall behind like that, it's a great time to jump in because you probably get a number that you may not even have to win the game. You probably get a plus price sometimes. I bet it under. We bet it under at halftime. And after the third quarter, it looked like it was easy. I said, I'm going to win the game under now. The way this is going, the game's going under. And then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, they were trading baskets. And I said, well, let me take a look. It still looks like an easy winner. And I think they scored 16 points in the last minute of a game. I've never seen that many scored in a game that was tight, that you didn't have to foul.
Right.
There's games where you're down 6-8 points and you start to foul and then you shoot threes and you make them. And I've seen 25, 30 points scored. I think it was a college game one night. It was St. Mary's was playing like Steve Lavin and somebody, and there was 40 points scored in the last 2 minutes. It can happen, but not when I've never seen a game where you didn't need to foul because it was a 1-point game going back and forth with a minute to go. It was a 1-point game, and they just both kept fouling and scoring, not intentionally fouling, but
yeah, I think the Bucks were up by 4 at one point, right, and accidentally fouled
on a 3-point shot.
On a 3-point shot, yes.
And luckily, the shooter missed one, and that's what got us there. We won by half a point.
Yeah, it's 223 and a half.
It's always nice to win by a half.
A little bit of a sweat there, and that is one of my losses yesterday. I did have Dallas and OKC over 118 in the first half, so kind of all opposite for those two games of what we were expecting. So that game did stay under the closing total of 230. The final was 222. But both favorites did win. As you mentioned, Bucks did not cover that closing number, but both home teams and favorites got it done. Your board pretty good, 2-1 with 3 college plays, right?
Yeah, Houston was easy under.
Ooh.
They played great defense, and that's what happens. I was very surprised that total was that high. You had it first half under. I had the game under. And then California over. That first half, the scoring in that game was so amazing. And I didn't watch it. I like to watch the game cast. They scored 18 points the first 3 minutes of the game combined. And I thought, this is going to be easy. I looked back with 10 minutes to go and there was 35 points scored. And I was like, wait a minute. That's 19 points in 8 minutes. That's terrible for these two teams. I could have never imagined they could go through a streak that bad. And then I looked back with about 3 minutes to go and it was on 60. With 3 minutes to go, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is horrible. They ended up getting 16 points, I think, in the last 3 minutes and put it at 76 for halftime. And I went over 90, I think, at halftime, or actually 88 and a half in the second half, and ended up winning the game and the second half bet.
Game by just 1.5 points, closed at 166.5. And I actually used that for punchlines as well. Unfortunately, your dog of the day, man, lost in a shootout. The Kraken, Florida and Seattle 1-1 going into overtime, and then ended up being a shootout for them. We did get there with one big dog here. Calgary Flames win over Nashville 4-3. Yeah. Overall totals were pretty good. Edmonton and Colorado did not get there for that over, but we did have Colorado and Pittsburgh over, Philadelphia and Columbus over, and I had over 1.5 in that first period as well. So overall, very good day.
Yeah, very good day.
And now we've got more to talk about today. We've got 2 more NBA games. I am excited about these as well, the Hawks and the Knicks. And then we've got the Warriors and the Rockets. So we'll break those down, and then we will go through your lines. I know you did this morning as well for college basketball. See if you have any edge, any differences that you like enough to make a play, or maybe you already have made a play. Not much in hockey with these 2 games, but we will go through them. I do have some notes on those games, and we have our numbers, of course. So starting off with the Atlanta Hawks, 13-12 on the year, but they found a way to sneak into this in-season tournament, 6-6 on the road. The Knicks, 15-9. 8-3 at home. So 2 teams, if you look at their efficiency offensively and defensively, both of them better offensively. Hawks 13th and 18th on defense. And then the Knicks second best offensive efficiency. You may even say number 1. And they are 16th defensively, which is a surprise and a little bit of a change of pace for this New York team. But let's look at the line here. We've got New York 8-point favorite now here at the South Point, and the total 237.
Yeah, and I thought earlier I looked at the score wrong. I thought there was a revenge factor, but the Hawks did win 121-116 at their home, and I was going to jump all over Atlanta plus 7.5. I made the game 6, the New York Knicks 6. But if there was revenge, it'd only be 3.5, and I thought that would be a very good play. So passing that, but I've got such a big difference on the total. I have this one 254.5, and I'm very comfortable with it because I love the way I've been adjusting my total numbers this year, and the totals have been very, very good in the NBA. I'm just surprised it's this low. The last game they played was 237, 121, 116. You have Atlanta who loves to run.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams below average defense, and the Knicks, the most efficient scoring team in the NBA right now. They have so many scorers in their lineup.
Atlanta is very hard to figure out, right? Looking at the Group C, because that is what they won, how they did get into this in-season tournament. They beat out the Boston Celtics, and they beat them in the very first game of their matchups that they had to play. And then they lost to the Chicago Bulls. So play a little bit to their level, but they can definitely get up and play good against these good teams. As you mentioned, they have already beat the Knicks once this year, and they have a win over the defending champions in the Celtics. But highly motivated here for New York, I can imagine. But nothing on the side, just total for you in this one.
Yeah, just the total. And again, I like it because these teams have trended over as well. I'm going to see if I throw that away. Let me grab it.
I do have that for you. I have the Hawks.
There it is, the end of my sheet.
17-8 to the over?
Yeah. 17-8 to the over. The Knicks are over 60% overs as well. So both teams showing they go over the total. Second half, they're both over in the second half as well. Atlanta 13-11, the Knicks 13-10.
So if it is low scoring, you don't jump in with this closing number here. Make sure and keep an eye on it for in-game as well.
Yeah, I didn't notice yesterday the Bucks and Magic were both really good second half unders. The Magic 16-8 under, the Bucks 14-8 under, and we got there by half a point. Should have been much easier than that, but I had a feeling those teams would play much better defense. They were both shooting about 60% in the first half, so always good to see, kind of try to figure out the pace and how the teams are shooting and why they got to that point where it was, whether it's a low scoring game or high scoring game.
Very tough to look at prop bets for these. I mean, the books have them pretty much down here. I was looking at Trae Young. He's at 20.5 at most spots for points in this game. His median is 21. But again, if you do like this over, and he does definitely step up in these big moments. His assist is 11.5. His median is 12. Brunson on the other side, his points is 26.5. His median is 24. You said there's a lot of guys that can put up points on this team, so maybe it's more spread out. You might want to look at that, but I know if you like a game over, you don't really want to jump in on under props.
Yeah, no, very hard to do that. When I'm projecting 17 more points in the game,
right?
If you just added that equally to 10 starters, that's 1.7 more points for each starter. But everything's not equal. And a guy like Young could almost add 3 points to his total. So, to get it over, I'm going to have a big game from him. Bogdanovich is going to have a big game, but I'm also going to need the Knicks, Brunson and Hart, both to have big games.
I should have looked at Bogdanovich's rebounds, because I was looking at Cat here. Karl Anthony Towns' rebounds is 12.5, and his median is 14. So he's been really good on the boards this year for this New York team. So that might be one we could.
Well, I hope there's not a lot of rebounds.
That's
the
true.
More baskets that go in, the less rebounds there'll be. But so that I would look more at assists, and maybe you could find Trae Young assist prop or Brunson assist prop in this game. I haven't really done any numbers on this since last year on the prop stuff, but last year Hart was like one of the best rebounders, not just for a guard, any player in the NBA, but they don't need him to rebound as much. And every time I look, he's got 5-6 rebounds. Or last year, I think his median was like 12.5 or 13.5. That's how high he was rebounding.
Wow.
Every game, double-digit rebounds. But I don't think you see that this year.
So just the total in this one. Let's move to the second game and see if you like anything side or total with the Warriors and the Rockets. Houston, 2-point favorite at home, and the total 221.5. Unless that just moved up to 222. Let's see, get the most accurate line here. I believe it is 222 now. But Okay, let's take a look at this one. You've talked about it a lot with the Warriors and Steph Curry and him really doing a lot for this team. They're 14th offense efficiency and 9th defensively. And then the Rockets are 15th offensive efficiency and 4th defense efficiency. So been very good. I also note from the stats that they are the best rebounding team in the league right now, and they're the 3rd best defense in points allowed at just 106. So does that lead you to an under here, or do you like the home team with Houston and the better defense?
I like Houston. I really like this team and what they've put together. Now, they are young. This is a very, very young basketball team. Now, Fred VanVleet's not, and he is the leader of this team. But when you look at Jalen Green, 22 years old, another young guy. Dylan Brooks is a veteran, and I like him a lot. But Amen Thompson I like even better. He's such a great defensive player. He's 22 years old. Then you've got Smith, who's 22. Eason, who's 22. Sengun, the center, is 22 years old. I mean, this is a really young team. So
you like them just money line, just to win outright, not necessarily cover here?
I did bet the money line, and I bet it when it was -2.5, but I was very fortunate. I found it -130. I looked today. There's mainly -130s in the market. I did see a -125 now because it has come down. You know, this is Steph Curry versus the young Houston Rocket team. That's basically, what it is. But I like this Rocket team. The one thing, young players, you don't find young players that are that good defensively. And that's why they're young players and they have lacking experience. This team's young players all play defense. Whoever put this team together, the general manager, did a terrific job, I think, because it's hard to find young guys like this that play defense like this.
Is it switching a little bit, though? Because we saw that last year with Minnesota being very young and being the best defensive team in the league, and now we just saw OKC yesterday. You said, is their defense that good? They shut down Luka pretty much, and they're a pretty young team, too, so interesting.
They've got some really good, Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City's defense is better. I have them ranked higher than Houston. I've got Houston number 2. Golden State's defense has been very good.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this total under as well. And both teams' second half trends, both teams trend well. Golden State 14-8, Houston 17-5 in the second half. Total wise, Golden State 12-10 under, Houston 13-9 under. So both teams have done well in the second half, and both teams have trended under in the second half.
If we tied up these two home teams on the money line, New York -340 and Houston -130, what would that come out to?
What'd you say? Minus what?
-340 and -130.
Well, if you bet 100 on the 130, you're going to get 170 back. So another 50 you win. 100, you're going to get back, it's like plus 110. Plus 115.
Okay.
Yeah,
plus 110 or 115?
Yeah.
What's the chance of all 4 home teams winning, though, after just
I
happened
hope they
last
do.
night?
Well, I don't have a bet on the Hawks now, but I hope they do just because I bet Houston, and I bet the total as well. I went under 223.5. My feeling again, this defense for Houston is just so good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tight game. The betting line says it's going to be a tight game, and I do like Golden State's defense. As I said, these are 2 of the better defensive teams in the NBA right now.
And then on the flip side, I would really like to see that Bucks and Knicks rematch there. So I'm hoping both home teams can pull it off as well. Let's go ahead and go through these 2 hockey games quickly, and then we'll go back and go through some college basketball. But we've got the Rangers and the Sabres. Rangers do have revenge here. The Sabres won 6-1 in New York on November 7th. So we do need to add that into our number. We've got Rangers -126 and 6 over a little bit, 6.23.
Amazing. Buffalo's lost 7 in a row.
Buffalo has lost 7 in a row. They're coming off of a loss where they did not have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in. We had just talked about that one on Monday, but they lost in a shootout to the Red Wings. So playing hard still.
Yeah, that's just amazing to me that they lost 7 in a row. 3 were obviously in overtime or a shootout, but a team that's still 11-13 on the year, but going in the wrong direction, and the Rangers having revenge. And the Rangers have not played well either. They're 2-8.
Right.
Their last 10 games. You got 2 teams that are really playing poor right now.
So 126 is the number. Adding in that revenge puts us right there about minus 140, right? Where the number
25 cents make it 151.
Okay, so a little bit of a play there on the Rangers. Nothing we can do with the total. They're sitting at 6.
Still a lean. I wouldn't say a play because it's only 14-cent difference. You like to have a lot bigger difference to give you value.
Just like Major League Baseball.
Same as baseball, 25 cents.
25, okay.
25 cents.
Let's go to the Ducks and the Senators. Senators are a pretty big favorite here at home, minus 240. Our number's not quite there, but I do think that they are the better team. Even though the records are fairly close, I would lean to the under in this one, even though it is 6 and our number's almost 6, 5.93, just 6 juice to the under. Ducks won in Anaheim 4-3 on December 1st, and they also won both last season. So that could play into bettors liking the Senators in this one. And they also do have Linus Ullmark, who has been playing very good for them. But John Gibson on the other side, still a really good goalie for Anaheim, 91 save percentage, 2.76 goals against average. So it's a lean to the under here for me, but not a definite play.
Yeah, again, you're looking for value, and it's close to having a little value on Anaheim, but winning the last 3 games, maybe it's a little motivational for Ottawa. Anaheim's played better on the road than they have at home. 5-9-1 at home, 5-3-3 on the road.
Right.
So they have a winning record away.
So,
I wouldn't bet it because of that, but just saying that's the case.
I am tempted to take that under, though, getting a 6 there.
I don't think you're going to – under. Well, you have a 6 under 17.
Yeah.
And it's 6 flat, so no real trends for either team.
Just 2 goalies that I trust. Trust their defense, too, but both teams more than their offense. I'll break that down really quick. The Ducks are 30th in goals for at 2.42, and they are tied for 14th in goals against at 3. And then Ottawa is tied for 15th in goals for at 3.04 and tied for 23rd in goals against at 3.15. But again, we do have Ullmark, who is expected to play today, who I think will help that number. So, yeah, I think I just talked myself into an under here between these two. First game was 4-3. Oh, so that was an over one, but.
Oh, it was 4-3. I was going to give you, if I can find those 2 teams, Anaheim on the road. Their median score is 3 to 1.5. On median, they're a 208 favorite. The median total they played to is 6.5. They must be a very good under team with that score. I'm going to have to look this over, though. I'm going to pass on that I said that because I'm looking at my numbers and my equation might be off a little bit.
Okay, but looking for their medians. We will have to dive into all these teams and their median home and away. But moving to some college basketball, let's start off. We'll just kind of rapid fire, and then if anything jumps out to you, we can stop at that game and break it down a little bit more. But starting off with Notre Dame here, first game on the board, right?
First game on the board, yep. Notre Dame, I have 19 and 133.
So a little bit of an under. Notre Dame 18 here at the South Point, 140.5.
Notre Dame has played very slow under Micah Shrewsbury this year, one of the slower teams in college basketball. They've been very methodical, very solid defensive team. And Dartmouth, they want to run, but I don't think they're going to be able to run against Notre Dame's defense. And Dartmouth is a horrible shooting team, one of the worst in the country. So I do like this game under. I think it'll be a close game. Not a close game, but with Notre Dame being a big favorite, it's not going to be a close game. It's going to be a blowout. But I can see Dartmouth. I have them projected at 57 points. that may be the way to go, is looking for a team total for them as well. Not just one. I would bet both. I would bet the game under, and I would bet Dartmouth under.
Okay, I like it. Going to the next game on the board, another big favorite here with Louisville, 15.5 at home, total 145 against UTEP.
Yeah, I wanted to bet this over because I really like Pat Kelsey, the head coach of Louisville, and the Louisville program. This has been a marquee blue blood basketball school for so many years. You can go back to the 70s, and Denny Crum was the head coach for 20 years there, and they were an outstanding basketball team, and they have been through the 2000s, and all of a sudden they completely fell apart. Rick Pitino was fired because of recruiting, and the team completely fell apart. The program did. The program did not hire the right coaches, and they have been in the bottom of college basketball the last couple of years. But Pat Kelsey's a really good head coach, came from College of Charleston. Before that, he was at Winthrop. He built both teams, and I couldn't pin offensive or defensive guru to him, one or the other. He's just good at both. He's a really good teacher. So he's got a good offensive game plan. He's got a good defensive game plan. They're going to get better, and he loves to play up tempo, and they are playing fast, and they're scoring well. But their defense is playing extremely well. And I wanted to go over here, but when I saw Louisville's 8-1 to the under, under Kelsey to start, so I said, well, I'm not going to buck that trend. I'll just pass.
Do you think that the bookmakers knew that about Kelsey too, and kind of set their team total a little bit high to start the year, and now it will eventually even out and adjust, but right now their totals were set very high?
Yeah, they were 4-5 this year, and this is a program that I said they're used to winning in the high 20s over the years, and I'm going to tell you what they did last year and who the coach was. So it was Kenny Payne. Chris Mack was there. And Chris Mack failed miserably, 20 wins, 24 wins his first 2 years. Then all of a sudden, 13-7, that was the COVID year. And then he went 13-19. They hired Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne 4-28, and then 8-24. He won 12 games in his 2 years. It's the worst record in Louisville history. But Pat Kelsey will turn it around. He's already 5-4 this year.
Very good. Okay, let's go to Marshall and Wright State. Wright State, 6.5-point favorite at home, total 151.5.
Two brand new head coaches to their programs this year. And if it wasn't, I know I would have an overplay because both programs have always been high scoring, high flying attacks. But this year, no, that's not the case. But total's still high. I made Wright State 6.5, 151. So there's really no advantage or no value there.
Milwaukee, 5-point favorite on the road against Green Bay, total 159.
Always good to look to see who won the last one because it is a rivalry, obviously, Milwaukee versus Green Bay. I have Milwaukee 7-point favorite and 155 the total. Green Bay, their head coach, Doug Gottlieb, ESPN announcer for many, many years and college basketball expert for ESPN, decided to get into the coaching game.
Horizon League game here between these two. Let's go to Fort Wayne, right?
Yeah, another Horizon 15? Game, another rivalry game with University of Indiana at Indianapolis. Used to be Ooey Pooey, IUPUI.
Yes.
They've changed to Indianapolis. And Fort Wayne used to be IPFW, but now they're just Fort Wayne. So it's Fort Wayne versus Indianapolis. I have Fort Wayne 13.5 and 160, and I think that the number's right around there. But these programs have always played fast and have gone up tempo. Both of them have. This is basketball country. In Indiana, you drive through any neighborhood and there's a basketball court in every single driveway. So they can shoot and they get up and down. They love to play fast. So I like it over the total.
Yeah, 151. That is a nice 9-point difference there that you had, right? You said 160?
Yeah, I have it 160. And, looking at my stuff, both surprising. And I say they can shoot so well. They do, but they don't play defense. Neither team plays defense. That helps our total out, that poor defensive play. And Fort Wayne is a very solid offensive team.
Couple more on the board here for us. We've got Utah Valley, 9-point favorite against North Dakota. 147 is the total.
I took 8.5 with North Dakota. I only made Utah Valley 5, 144.5. North Dakota, Their head coach, Paul Souther, has been there in his 6th year and has done a nice job. He's 6-3 ATS this year. Todd Phillips, 2nd year at Utah Valley. He's only 2-8 ATS, so I was kind of surprised I had some value there.
BYU, huge favorite, 27 against Fresno State. 158 is the total in this one.
Well, I didn't realize it went up that high. 2 brand new head coaches, Vance Wahlberg and Kevin Young. I think both will end up being really good coaches. They've both gone up tempo. They're both really playing fast. But Fresno struggles to score the basketball. They've really been bad offensively. BYU's been solid. That's why they're such a big favorite.
BYU pretty impressive, losing Mark Pope and now still laying 27 here at home against Fresno. 2 more on the board. San Diego State 15 at home, 135.5 against Cal Baptist.
Yeah, I have San Diego State 15.5, 132.5. I would lean to the under. Anytime you've got Brian Dutcher, he's 5-3, San Diego State, the Aztecs. You're always going to get great defense, and this year is no exception. They play slow. They play great defense. It would be a game that you may want to watch, that if they score early and this total creeps up in play anywhere over 140, it'd be a good chance to go under at that point.
Unless it could be another game for me in the first half under, where Houston held Troy to just 11 points in that first half to really help get us there. Could we do that first half under?
Cal Baptist is a pretty solid offensive team.
Okay.
They're gonna score some points. They're good offensively. That's the only thing that keeps me off the game, because Cal does not play fast either, Cal Baptist. They have methodical offense, but they shoot the ball exceptionally well.
Wow.
I think that shooting could keep him in the game early. It would be a surprise. I think it could more go over in the first half. And then at halftime, Brian Dutcher gets on his guys to play better defense and demands the defense, and they do it. And then they shut Cal Baptist down in the second half.
I'm going to move to the last game on the board then. Let's go. Nevada is 11.5 at home against South Dakota State, 142.5. There has been some movement here. Which way are we moving? Looks like we're going up. People are betting this over.
Yeah, went up. I took 11.5 with South Dakota State. I made the game 8. Nevada's, just what I've seen so far, to me, struggling out of the gate. They've lost their last 2 games. They lost to Washington State, who's a good team, not great. But then they lost to Loyola Marymount, who's a very weak basketball team. So I have question marks about Steve Alford and his team this year. I'm not sure if they're, as good as they have been in the past. I know South Dakota State, I know what I'm going to get out of them. Solid coach in Eric Henderson. They play good team basketball. They make their free throws. And that's, when you got a game like that, it's all you can ask for. So I know what I'm going to get. I think they're going to be in the game and they'll stay close. And they know how to win. That's a big thing.
So you do like the points here, that 11.5.
Yep.
With South Dakota State.
This is where T.J. Otzenberger was for 3 years before he got the UNLV job and then left. And when he was there, they were very, very good. And that's why, why he got the job. But this program knows how to win. Henderson won 30 games in 2022, 19 the year after that, 22 last year. So these players know how to win games.
And he has been there for a while now.
Sixth year.
Oh,
Sixth year since Otzenberger.
If you missed the beginning, the next half hour, we are going to do some big game breakdowns. We've got Army, Navy up next. We've got the Niners and the Rams. And then we also have the Bills and the Lions and the Steelers and the Eagles. So don't go anywhere. Next half hour will be all football, one college football and all NFL. So you're watching Sports by the Book. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day.
Bingo!
And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book. We are live at the South Point Hotel and Casino. You can catch us on South Point Studio here on YouTube or Sports by the Book. Please follow our social media pages as well. Sports by the Book everywhere. And then on Instagram, Sports by the Book LV. Checking in with the chat really quick because we do have a question, and it is pertaining to basketball. So I want to throw it to you really quick before we dive into our football games. But good morning to our usuals of Vince and Dean and Jerry. Thank you all for jumping in. And then we have a new one. Democracy 24. Is there a rough number for home court advantage in basketball is the question.
Well, I always say that, home field advantage in any sport varies. There's a rough number, an average number, but it varies from team to team and how good their crowds are. So in college basketball, the average is about 3.5. But you could have some teams that are worth 7 and others that are worth just 1, maybe.
Right.
So there's a big difference from the top to the bottom. You take a Duke, complete sellouts, crazy crowd. They have won at a high rate at their home court. And then you get, other programs where, maybe nobody shows up and they're playing in front of nobody, and that's just no home court. But about 3.5 is the average in college basketball.
And then another thing to factor in is whether the team that's coming in is much better, right? Like if Creighton was coming here to take on the Rebels, probably wouldn't give the Rebels even what their normal full home court was.
It all depends how they travel. So if Creighton travels well and they bring 5,000 fans, you can give, you're going to give a lot less home court. Let's Mountain West Conference, not Mountain West Conference, West Coast Conference.
Yes.
They play the championship, or they play the entire tournament here, the conference tournament. If you go to a game, a West Coast Conference game, and you walk in, it's 95% Gonzaga fans. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's worth 4 to 5 points. This isn't their home court. But the crowd is so loud, it's worth 4 to 5 points, and they're playing on a neutral court. Basically, they say it's neutral.
Right.
There's one section up there that's got 200 St. Mary's fans in it, and that's it. It really is amazing. So home court is all about the fans and the crowd and yelling at the referees and making them give calls to their team. Travel is a different story. That, going to a place like Colorado and playing the Buffaloes, and you're in the high altitude and you're not used to it, there's, that adds to their home court value.
St. Mary's is getting better. They did win this past year, right? That's how they got into the
They've been great for years.
Yeah.
St. Mary's has been great for years.
the travel too, even the fans supporting them.
They're getting a little better, but it's nowhere near what the Zags have.
Yes. Good. Well, I hope that answered your question. If anybody else has a question, please throw it in the chat. And I will just mention right now, there was a request for an FCS game for us as well, but Kenny is going to go over that game on Friday for you. One of the FCS, I will send it to you after the show.
FCS games? Okay.
Yes, one of the big games. And it is a Friday night game. That's why I was thinking that Army-Navy one was. But I believe I was from Dean Hilt, so we'll have that Friday morning, Sports by the Book, 9 a.m. You can catch that game. But let's dive into these 4 games. We do only have 20 minutes left to break down as much as we can.
So college football, when I get left.
Yeah.
There are no Friday night games. They're all on the 14th. There's 4 FCS games on the 14th.
Okay. Montana State.
I don't know why it's not showing up on my screen. Well, maybe I just don't have that day pulled in. That's the reason why. Idaho and Montana State. All right. Idaho's had a good year. They're a good football team. Oh, there you go. There is a game on the 13th. It's Idaho and Montana State.
Very good. Okay,
I'll have that one.
So you just helped us. Thank
Friday
you. We
morning.
almost skipped a game.
Friday morning. I'll have that Friday morning.
Could have missed that to bet on for FCS. Okay, well, let's go into this Navy-Army game here between these two. Now, Army just won the AAC over Tulane, and pretty incredible numbers here. Did you know their quarterback, Bryson Daly, had 4 rushing touchdowns in that game over Tulane?
No.
Do you know what that did for him?
I don't know. He went over 30 rushing touchdowns or something?
29 rushing touchdowns. He is now tied with Ashton Jeanty, who is a finalist for the Heisman. This quarterback himself had 29 rushing touchdowns. I thought that was just amazing when I was looking and seeing how many and comparing the running backs to how many they had, and he is tied with Ashton Jeanty. So we've got him on one side. They're 11-1, 8-0 in conference play, and they did win the championship there, 8-4 ATS. On the flip side with Navy, 8-3, 6-2 in AAC play, 7-4 against the spread. Blake Horvath, he did miss the last ECU game, and he will be playing. His numbers, 9.8 yards per attempt. Now mine's average, so if you have median, we'll let you jump in here too. But 11 passing touchdowns, 4 INTs, and he also had 13 rushing touchdowns and 895 rushing yards on the year. So pretty big number here for this. Is that right? Navy?
What's that? Navy, Army is the favorite.
Army is the favorite.
Yeah. South Point opened 5, Army 5, and they're up to right now South Point at 6.5.
Yeah.
On Army. And, you can just look at Tulane. These two teams have played 7 of the same teams. They're in the same conference. But when you just look at Tulane, as they both played them since week 12, and they both played Notre Dame. But Tulane, Navy lost 35-0 at home, and Army just destroyed Tulane 35-14. That could go into being a psychological advantage for Navy at this point, because Army may think, we're going to win this game. But they know how tough it is every year. Last year, Army won 17-11. The year before that, Army won 20-17 in overtime. The year before that, Navy 17-13. And those scores are very, very low. If this would be 2 regular teams that didn't know each other, I'd make this total 51.5 off of their stats. But you have to take off almost 2 touchdowns because both of these teams know each other's offense inside and out. And both of these teams we know run the ball 75-80% of the time, and they both are in the top 5 in methodical offenses, that they take their time every play and they run the clock down. One of these teams can go 14 plays, 80 yards and take up 12 minutes off the clock. I saw one year Army took an entire quarter off the clock in this game. So that's why they're so low. If I take 2 touchdowns off my total, I still only have it 37.5. South Point opened 40, bet down to 38.
I actually made the game 51.5. That's funny that you just threw that number out there. But I also made Army 3 in this game against Navy, and maybe I still have Navy too high, but can we make a case for taking the points here? I'd
love it. Give me Navy plus that 6.5. I made the game for myself. But revenge factor, Army's won the last 2 years.
Right.
Factor the revenge in. This game is also being played in Landover, Maryland. Much closer for Navy. They're taking a bus to the game. Army is flying in, staying in a hotel, and then, they're taking a bus to the game. They have a little more travel. Navy's had an extra week off.
Yes.
To heal and prepare, where Army played the extra game playing in the conference championship game. So I think that's huge edge Navy. And also just looking at that Tulane, A beats B, B beats C, turn around, maybe C beats A. Against Notre Dame, Army lost 49-14 by 35. Navy lost 51-14 by 37. These two teams, I think, are rated pretty even. I have Army a 108.5. They performed to a 107. I have Navy a 104.5. They performed to a 106.5. So Navy's actually performed a little higher than my number than Army has. So yeah, give me Navy. I'm with you there.
I had them very close as well, and I do think that Army was very fortunate to get to host that championship game, right? I think it was tough for Tulane, and it was very cold, so we saw a lot of the home teams actually benefit from that Friday night.
Median numbers I got for you for the quarterbacks.
Yes.
Bryson Daly for Army, 3 for 6, no interceptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. He had to throw the ball a ton, though, against San Antonio because they stopped the run. So they will throw it if they have to, but I think that's what you're going to see. He runs the ball 24 times per game, 145 yards, and just pencil him in for 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
He's getting into the end zone, but maybe not this game because it is supposed to be a lower scoring game. Blake Horvath, 7 for 12, 117 yards and a touchdown. He's thrown the ball well. 14 rushes, 84 yards, and 1 TD. So those numbers all look really good. They are not, against a Naval Academy. And let me look at the Air Force game because those are similar. Army beat Air Force 20-3. Navy beat them 34-7.
What time when during the season did they play Air Force though?
Navy in the 6th week.
Okay.
And Army in the 10th week.
Okay. Because Air Force got so much better throughout this season. They started off, they were a mess. So maybe a little bit of an advantage there. Navy saw them earlier on.
Not much earlier, though. 6th week of the season.
Yeah.
But,
you're right.
They played well. They were 5-1 ATS at one point. They were 6-0. Navy was. Looked like this was going to be a game of 2 great records. It still is. Navy's 8-3 and 11-1 Army, but I like Navy plus the points.
Most important question here, are we going to see a 7? There's already been a lot of action on Army. They bet them up from 5 to 6.5. Maybe wait it out.
Yes.
Won't see worse than this, right? And then do not buy. They have a point, though. Take the 6.5 here.
Yeah, no buying. But I would wait. I would wait to see if there's a 7, and I would just take 7 as soon as you see it. I don't think it gets any higher than that.
Okay. Hoping that we get a 7 on our contest play. We still have our golden nugget. And I still have that circus, so hoping to see a 7 there in that one. Let's go to the 3 NFL games that we have. We have about 5 minutes for each of them. So starting with Thursday night, we've got the Niners hosting the Rams. Now, this is a very meaningful game for these two in the same division. Right now, the Rams are 7-6, and the Niners are 6-7. Now they're a 3-point favorite. I'm curious if there's any 2.5 still out there for this home team. Looks like it's all 3s now. We might have missed our 2.5 here because I think we're both leaning to the home team here. Total 49.5. Rams coming off a very big win over the Bills. They were at home for that one. And the Niners seem to have figured some things out against the Chicago Bears there. So what do you see in this one?
Yeah, 2 desperate teams and obviously always big rivals between these two. But I think the 49ers get healthy here. Trent Williams is such a major player of a non-specialty guy being an offensive left tackle. They flashed the team's record when they were playing Green Bay. They flashed the record on TV with Trent Williams in the lineup. They were like 90% wins. Without Trent Williams, they were like 3-10. I mean, they can't even win without the guy. So he is worth 2 points to the betting line, and they're going to get him back, I believe, for this game. So that's a big plus for them. And then also Nick Bosa is questionable now instead of doubtful. That's another 2-point player. You could be bringing back 4 points to their power rating. I already had this game, the 49ers 4.5, and thought that was the right price. And again, you're right. It's -3, and you can get even money now, but that's the best you're going to get on the 49ers.
And I had them 3.5 here, but I thought with that key number of 3 laying that 2.5 was enough of a difference there for my numbers. But I like the Niners in this spot, and the Rams have really struggled defensively, and they're still 27th in the league in total yards allowed. They're 28th against the run. So I think that this Niners team will be able to capitalize. Even with all their losses, their numbers are still great. They're 4th right now in total yards per game, and that's by average. And they're third defensively in total yards allowed. And looking at the Rams, with one more win than the Niners, they have a negative 34-point differential. So been pretty fortunate to get this far. And I know that they're all still kind of fighting for this division. Now the Seahawks have a pretty good lead, but I like the Niners in this one as well.
Yeah, I do too. The Rams have gone 5-2 their last 7 games after a 1-5 start, but they are 2-2 their last 4 games, and I still feel their talent is average. Their offense is very good, fifth best in the NFL. Even with a banged up offensive line, they've gotten better offensively, and their defense 29th. You mentioned the numbers, and that supports that. I have them a 101 rating. I have San Francisco a 103 rating, but that's without Williams and without Bosa. When you add those players in there, you're at 107. I'm 6 points better, 2.5 for home. I think this game should be about 8.5.
It is crazy with Trent Williams, too, because last year he missed 3 games, I believe, and Debo missed the same 3 games, and they lost all 3. So I think it was kind of a confusion on who meant more and why they were losing those games. But, I mean, with that graphic that they showed during the game, Trent Williams is such a huge part of this, but have gotten a few wins now with Brock Purdy getting more comfortable there. Doesn't always necessarily need him.
I lean to the overs. Well, what is that total right now? Is it still
49.5? Yep.
Yeah. And I wouldn't bet it over right away. I would wait and see if you can find a 48.5. You may see 50s, and this may be another game that, they start slow and then the scoring picks up in this game because you got 2 quarterbacks that can put it in the end zone. Here's the median stats. Stafford, 23 for 30, 1 interception, 260 yards, 1 touchdown. He 1 rush per game. That's it. No yards. He's not going to run the ball. His only run will be, if they win the game and he's in the victory formation, he kneels down. Brock Purdy, 19 for 29. No interceptions, 258, and 1 touchdown. They're pretty equal passing yards. Stafford throws for a little higher completion percentage, but Purdy less interceptions. And rushing, Brock Purdy 4.5 for 18. That's his median.
Okay, very good. I will say to your point about the total there, I would wait and see because we know Shanahan wants to play slow. We know that I think they are 30th in pace of play, taking about 30 seconds per play. So, the Rams are going to try to speed them up, and if they do score quickly, they can answer back. But
the defense is so bad for the Rams, I'm not sure if they can stop the 49ers, even without CMC in the lineup.
Well, and Jennings coming off a huge game kind of reminded everybody how important he was to that offense as well. So, 2 more. Up next, let's go to the Steelers, and people are betting on the Eagles here at home. They are now a 5-point favorite here at the South Point, the total 42.5. So Steelers 10-3 right now. They are in control of their division. They're 4-3 on the road, have a nice 85 points differential. Eagles 11-2, top of their division, 5-1 at home this year. I think we might be on opposite sides here, though. I like the points here with the Steelers. I think they've been playing very good football. I think they can hang around in this one. And I know the Eagles' defense has definitely improved, but they also, Eagles have a little bit of concerns offensively, running the ball great. They have Saquon. They're utilizing him, not passing as much as they would like to be. On the flip side, do have to watch out. Those Steelers were without George Pickens in the last game, and he is still questionable for this one. So how do you see this one? What'd you make it? I made the Eagles 3 at home here in the total 45.5.
I have Philadelphia 7. I have them rated as a better football team. I have them better offensively. 9th ranked offense for the Eagles, 18th for the Steelers. Without George Pickens, you can drop that because he's doubtful. I don't think he's playing. But defensively, this is where it comes in. Philadelphia, number 1 defense. That's how good they've been this year, allowing just 18 points per game. Steelers, 3rd best defense, allowing 15.5 per game. And Pittsburgh's played the better strength of schedule. They've played the better team. So very interesting to see what we get out of this Pittsburgh defense. I think we get a great effort out of them.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is 6-1 with Russell Wilson starting at quarterback. I'm not betting the side. I'm not betting the Eagles. I'm betting the game under. I only made this total 32.
I like it, especially because, I mean, when this improvement that we have seen from this Eagles defense as of late. And then, I mean, if you want to look at a game that you could compare, the Steelers did really good against the Ravens, and they held Derrick Henry to just 65 yards, 5 yards per carry, one touchdown for him. Lamar Jackson did add 46 yards on 4 carries. But, yeah, I think they're going to be ready and really try and slow down Saquon Barkley in this one.
Pittsburgh 6-6 on the total this year, but coming into the year, Mike Tomlin was 63-36, 63% unders. They're conservative offensively. Russell Wilson, here's his median stats: 20 for 28, no interceptions, 264 for 2 touchdowns. Those are really good numbers, really good. And did you know Russell Wilson is on a 1-year deal worth $1.2 million?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
He's the lowest paid starting quarterback in the NFL by miles.
Denver was like, somebody take him, please. We'll pay some of the salary. And nobody really wanted him. And then Tomlin got 2 good quarterbacks there with him and Justin Fields and said, we'll figure it out.
So he's going to be in for a big raise after this year.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, or even going into this year, people were really down on him. He fits the offense well, though. I don't think he throws the ball 28 times in this game because I think it's going to be a slow-played game. 2 great defenses, going to be tough to move the football. Jalen Hurts, 16 for 24. Only 24 passes a game. No INTs, 202 yards. 1 touchdown. Now, Russell Wilson is not a running quarterback anymore. He used to be a great athlete, was a starting shortstop for North Carolina State, and could have been a first-round draft pick. I think he still did get drafted in Major League Baseball. Could have played in the big leagues, but he had a great arm, and that's why he's a quarterback. 3 rushes for 3 yards, though, for Russell Wilson. Jalen Hurts, 10 rushes per game, 37 yards. You know he's going to run the football. He's going to take off and leave the pocket. I'm not sure what his rushing numbers are, but we'll have to take a look.
So you like the under. I do like the points here, and that kind of correlates with the under. If it's going to be a low-scoring game, points at a premium here. I think the Steelers can hang around. Another thing is we could have some turnovers in this game, and I know you cannot predict turnovers, but we know that the Steelers' defense is very good at creating them. And then we have had some fumbles here for the Eagles side, especially even Jalen Hurts himself. So that might help both cases there.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you, and you said you'd noticed the same thing, that Jalen Hurts has had 5 fumbles in his last 4 games. Kind of surprising to me.
Yes. 8 overall, 4 for loss for him on the season. So one more really good matchup that we have on the board between the Bills and the Lions. Now, the Lions, we know they are still struggling. They still have some injuries on the defensive side, and that is why we have such a high total here at 54. The Lions are a 2-point favorite at home. The Bills are coming off a tough loss against the Rams where they had no turnovers, I believe 6 touchdowns, and still lost that game. So what do we like in this one? Do you have medians here for these 2 quarterbacks with Josh Allen and Jared Goff, who are both having outstanding years? I will just say Josh Allen, 23 passing touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. And then Jared Goff on the other side, 25 passing touchdowns and 10 INTs. Both of their yards per attempt, 7.7 and 8.6. So very good as well. I lean to the Lions, but I am a little concerned here with the defensive injuries, and I wish the total didn't get bet up so much already at 54, but I do like the over in this one between these 2.
DJ Reader is questionable, so he may make his return for the Detroit defense. That would help them a lot. I had the Green Bay-Detroit game over this past weekend, and they did not disappoint, 34-31 because of the offenses. I'm going to be over in this game. And we didn't mention the weather. Philadelphia is going to be nice, 47 degrees, no wind on Sunday. We don't have to worry about the weather here in Detroit, playing indoors. 2 great offenses, 2 quarterbacks that are having MVP years. I made Detroit 3 and 61.5. This total opened 53.5 here at South Point. It's been bet up to 54. Good reason why.
Yeah.
2 really good teams. So 54 is not a bad number. If you can get it over that, I'd bet it now. It's not going down. Median numbers, Josh Allen. I have them the number 1 offense, first of all. Team rankings. Buffalo, number 1 offense, 8th best defense, 5th overall in the NFL. Detroit, 2nd best offense, Seventh best defense because of Reeder being out, fourth overall. I've got a half point separating the two teams right now, but if Reeder plays, he's 1.5 points. I'll probably make Detroit 4.5 in the game, but I'm not going to bet the side here. But I love the total over with number 1 and number 2 offenses in the league. Median score, Buffalo 31-21 and Detroit 29-17. So both teams score in the 30s. They get to 30, each of them.
Not to mention Josh Allen now indoors, like you mentioned, and used to playing in the snow, and they put up plenty of points this year, even at home. Another thing you might want, might lean to the Lions a little bit.
I lean to the Lions.
The Bills have won 4 straight.
In the series?
Yes.
They don't play that often.
They do not play that often, but the Lions have not won since I was in high school in 2006. So they'll be ready for this one. I mean, Dan Campbell has his team on a mission, kind of just going one game at a time, but just a little bit of fuel there for this game against the Bills.
What we've seen lately, the Detroit Lions are a great first half team. They get out early and they get the lead, and then they have to sit on it. You know, they were out in front of Houston, they were out in front of Indianapolis and Green Bay. They let Houston and Green Bay come back, 2 good quarterbacks, and they get a lead here. Buffalo's coming back, and has a lot to do with the defense and the injuries they have for that Lions defense. All
right. Well, are any of these plays making your board? Or not yet? You're sticking with just today.
I always like to put today's down, and I'll be back Friday, 9 a.m. here, Sports by the Book, and I'll maybe give a couple plays at that time. But let me give you the median numbers for these 2 quarterbacks because we've done them all. Josh Allen, 21 for 30, no interceptions, 235 yards, 1 TD. Rushing, 6 for 25 for Josh Allen. Jared Goff, 18 for 28. No interceptions, 269, tremendous passing yards. Just the median average of that's incredible. 2 touchdowns a game. He's not going to run the football. 2 rushes for 2 yards. And those are probably kneel downs. That's what those are. They're not rushing attempts.
Right. Well, that is it for us. Do you want to show your board? I think you have 3 plays for the day.
I got to finish the last one.
Well, I will go first then.
All college basketball at this point of the year.
I am going to do a little New York parlay here with the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers. I do like this revenge spot. The New York Rangers lost 6-1 in the first matchup. I think they'll be ready for this one. Have Shesterkin playing today. I also am going with that under, right? Is that my next one? Anaheim, Ottawa under 6. I like both goalies with Gibson and Olmark. I think we can keep that under 6. And then I did add in 2 football because I will not be back until Saturday. So I've got Navy plus the points, 6.5 or better. And then I do have that over in the Lions and the Bills.
1 under, 1 over, and 1 dog for me. The under is the Notre Dame Dartmouth game today. Notre Dame playing slow, good defense. Dartmouth can't score. The over is the Fort Wayne game, Indianapolis and Fort Wayne, up-tempo, 2 really good scoring teams, bad defenses. And then South Dakota State, plus the 11.5. And I got the best of the numbers on all those games.
Okay. So,
on the board.
Okay.
So 3-3 for me for this week. Hopefully I can get a couple more wins for you, and we'll have some more plays on Friday.
There is one more question for you from Dean Hill. He'd like to ask what you think about hedging, if you do it or not. Example, if he took Army at 3 and now can get Navy at 7, should he hedge his bet?
A small percentage, because you're the only person with -3. You can't get it. Everybody can get plus 6.5 right now. Not everybody can get 7, though. There's not any 7s out there, but again, nobody could get -3. There is a value to that ticket, and you want to keep that value. There could be no value if they lose straight up, or they win by 1 or 2. That's the thing about sports. There's a sub-zero value at the end of games. But I would hedge back 20%, maybe 25%, unless you really like the dog and you think you just knew the line was going to go up. It's all depending on your feel for the game. If you like Army in the game, you hedge 20, 25%.
Okay, good stuff there. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. I should mention, too, Punchlines is back today at noon, and Matt Neverett will be the guest, so make sure you tune in. Go to Punchlines FN. We want to talk to Matt. A lot of great stuff going on. Shouldn't say great. I mean, a lot of stuff going on.
Any word on UNLV head coach?
That's what I mean. That wasn't great stuff, but he'll fill you in with all UNLV information.
I'm sure he'll have some information. The name I'm hearing is Rolovich. Was the head coach of Hawaii, and then he got the job at Washington State, and he got fired because he did not want to take the vaccine. And they fired him because he wouldn't take the vaccine for COVID. And Nick Rolovich.
So he didn't coach this past year.
The last couple of years, I'm not sure if he's an assistant somewhere, but the UNLV wants to hire someone with head coaching experience. I agree with that. The way the program is moving right now in the right direction, you want to bring someone in who has been the head guy and the CEO of his program before.
Last but not least, before we get out of here, we do have some new odds. Well, this is the first time I've seen them, and I think we even have a graphic here, but Exacta's for college football championship. So you can come to the South Point and you can bet Ohio State over Penn State. You can bet Clemson and Indiana at 1,000 to 1. So there they are right there, the graphic.
Wow.
Come check it out. Do your homework, go through the bracket and see who your final two are. Maybe just put a little bit on that, which let's check out some Texas here, who we do like to get past Clemson and Arizona State. So, yeah, there's some good numbers here. You can get Texas against Georgia 12 to 1. Maybe not the best, but yeah, come check it out here down at the South Point and at the Rampart if you're up in Summerlin. We got the regular games just to win outright, all that good stuff. So come see what you like here. Plenty of stuff.
What's Arizona State over Boise State?
What's that?
Arizona State over Boise State.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. No, it does say Arizona State, Boise State, 300 to 1.
300 to 1?
300 to 1. You are really pushing for some chaos, huh?
Hey, the way they're both playing.
It's true.
They both know how to win games, and they're playing super football. That amazing. Kenny Dillingham. And again, I always say that, UNLV, I think, should hire a coach with head coaching experience. There's at least two coaches in this Final Eight that were not a head coach before when they got this job. Kenny Dillingham was never a head coach when he got hired by Arizona State, and Williams for Notre Dame was not a head coach when they hired him.
Well, and here's the thing. If Clemson can do the tough part and knock off Texas, then Arizona State will, they'll still be a little bit of an underdog to Clemson.
They'll be a little bit of an underdog. Not big, though, but it's a very winnable game for them.
Yes, very winnable game for them against a team who kind of snuck in their bid stealer. But shout out to John as well in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us here. This is it for us for Sports by the Book. We're always Monday through Wednesday. Tomorrow you can find Jeff Parles here at 9 a.m. Football Frenzy back at 3 p.m. on Thursdays, 2 p.m. on Fridays. Kenny White will be back Friday morning to cover that FCS game and anything else that is happening that day for today's action. Thank you, everybody behind the glass, Sean, Ryan, Vince, and Ann. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. We'll see you again very soon here on Sports by the Book.